Ageism by Felicity Walters. So, what is ageism? The devaluation, discrimination against elderly people. And to further understand devaluation, we think of devaluation as the reduction of underestimation of the worth or importance of something, reducing the value. So, when you think of ageism, you want to think of all the isms: sexism, racism. An ism means a stereotype or a negative issue, a negative connotation around something. Ageism can be a situation where someone generalizes that all older adults are frail, weak, or forgetful. It can refer to an older person assuming someone younger is not experienced enough to be competent. So that's just a general definition of ageism. And how does it occur? It can occur at any point when a person is perceived to be old. This is not a definite age when ageism officially begins for older adults. Oftentimes, somebody who's 80 years old or who's 50 years old may already be experiencing ageism. It's when you classify an older group and you say that they're dependent and vulnerable instead of viewing them as being independent and resilient. Companies will often not hire somebody because of their age. They may feel that they're not able to meet the demands that the job calls for. They may feel that their age cannot meet those skill needs. Nursing homes, they provide great environments for residents. However, there's serious problems amongst the treatment of those residents. How are those residents being treated? That can be a part of ageism, an ongoing part. And as an individual, name calling is an example of ageism. How do we our preconceived thoughts and notions, that's a part of ageism. Saying that you're too old. You're still doing that? Wow, I didn't think you could do that in your age. That's ageism. And that's something that as an individual we that can be classified that we exhibit ageism. And to even go even further, combining the systemic and as well as the individual views and the individual assumptions, oftentimes employers, they see 20 years worth of experience and oftentimes feel the person may be too old for the job. Ageism is not always towards older people. Does exhibit in younger people as well. Younger people who move up in the management and they are getting management positions. People can say, well, they're too young to be a manager. They just got here. That's ageism. So it's not just physically and it's not just what we say out our mouth, it's also mentally. An article that I read that I really liked, it talks about, it's titled, Where Are We Now in the Relation to Determining the Prevalence of Ageism in the Era of Escalating Population. And it was really embedded with all these facts regarding how many accounts of ageism and how we don't even recognize that that's ageism. And so it talked about the prevalence, that is more prevalent amongst older people. It talked about how the rates are constantly increasing and how we should take more research and how research should be done. It was like a call to action, like this is ageism. This is an ongoing issue. This is just as important as racism and that we should take it into consideration. Another article that I read, it said ageism and stereotypes of the older adults. And it really, really, really talked about how older adults, that's why they enjoy spending time with their family, because it helps them to feel important, feel like they still are able to do something, because oftentimes families will limit older adults from even going to work, from driving. And I understand health conditions can come into play, but limiting them and saying, oh, they're not able to do that. Older adult may be trying to show that they're still capable of doing everyday life tasks. And so that's what that article really was embedded with. And I really enjoyed it because I do agree. We stereotype older people. We really do. We count them out of doing stuff. We over accommodate them. We baby talk them just like they were babies. And I enjoyed this article because it made a notion and it made a really good resolution and a reflection saying that social media and the media plays a heavy role in how ageism is reviewed. And it said that we need to begin to have more of a positive of aging instead of a negative. Another article that I read and reviewed and really liked it in detail because it said ageism is coming of age. It made a notion that we, from birth, we knew that we were going to change age. We knew that we were going to be babies all our life. We knew that our cells was going to grow. We knew that our limbs was going to grow. We knew that our bones were going to grow. We knew that our heart was going to grow. We knew that our brain was going to be filled with information. But we didn't never take into consideration that the type of stereotypes and the type that is embedded within our society and that we don't recognize it. We don't recognize how we categorize older people. We don't recognize that it's a prejudice. We don't recognize that because we don't understand it. And when you don't understand something, you're ignorant. But when you become knowledgeable of it, you have to be cautious and you have to take into consideration those things. And that's what that article talked about. And when you think of coming of age, and I like that title because coming of age is like you coming to a new reality, you coming to a realization of some things. And so I enjoyed reading that article because it made a notion that it is a cultural disease. It's embedded in our culture. And so I wanted to know, how can society remedy this problem? And I just think it's simple. To help combat ageism by making an effort to recognize and address the stereotypes, encouraging tolerance when they arise. Awareness and education are the key. Being aware of something and knowing and educating somebody on those, that is something. For example, when a relative or neighbor makes a generalization like older people can't drive, correct that person. Change that person. Say, hey, no, that's hurtful. That's not the reality. That's not cool. Don't say those things. So the change starts with us. It starts with the individual. And once the individual change and you have a group of individuals change, you have a population that changes, then you can change the system. And when you can change the system, that's when the perspective of older people can be changed as well. And I just wanted to bring it home and talk about ageism in our own society. It's not just happening in the United States, but it's funny that it's happening in the United States. And the United States is supposed to be the land of the free, the land of the home and the brave. And so in our society today, about 70% of older age Americans said they have been assaulted because of their age. And that's a problem, because if we're supposed to be the land of all these great opportunities, all these great things, why are the older people being limited? Why are the older people being forgotten? Why are the older people being counted out? So I ask you, how are you going to change? How are you going to affect change so that ageism does not occur another day in America? Once again, my name is Felicity Walters. These are my sources cited, and thank you for watching my video.